I was awakened late at night by the ringing of my cell phone. Blinking away the sleepiness from my eyes, I fumbled for the phone on the bedside table while wondering who would call at this ungodly hour. The caller ID on the screen that dimly illuminated the dark room left me confused. Honey, displayed on the screen. It was my wife calling. A chill crept down my spine as I turned to look at the other side of the bed. There, illuminated by a silver of moonlight seeping through the curtains, lay my wife, fast asleep, exhausted from what I had assumed was a stressful evening shift at the hospital she worked in as a nurse. The phone continued to ring, vibrating against my palm. With trembling fingers, I swiped to answer, pressing it to my ear. "Hello," I whispered, my voice low so to not awaken her, but audible enough to be heard by the person on the phone. "Baby, do not say a word and act normal." "There is no time to explain," came the urgent whisper from the other end. It was unmistakably my wife's voice, but tinged with fear. December 12th, 1995, Adams Creek. My breath caught in my throat. That date, that place, our secret. The moment our story began. We were just kids then, me at 12 and her at 10, brought together by chance during a family vacation. It was a memory we'd kept between us, a private touchstone of our relationship. She said this to prove without a doubt that she was my wife, my honey. "Grunt twice if there is someone in the room with you that looks like me," the voice on the phone instructed, each word measured and tense. "Don't say a word." Questions flashed across my mind. Who are you? What is going on? Were some that came to mind, and for a moment I couldn't decide which to ask. I stayed silent as fear began to mount in me, and my heart pounded hard in my chest. "I don't understand what is happening. How are you here and..." But she cut me off before I could finish. "Baby, is there someone that looks like me in the room with you?" I turned slowly, my gaze falling on the sleeping form beside me in the dim light. I could make out every familiar curve on her face. I stayed silent for a while, trying to make sense of the situation. As she instructed, I grunted twice. "I don't want to alarm you, but you have to leave the house now and come straight to the hospital," the voice, my wife, said, her voice barely above a whisper. "Just act as normal as possible and leave the house. That thing in the bed with you is not human." These words sent a chill down my spine. This woman who spoke possessed knowledge that only my wife and I shared. It was undeniably her, and I knew this. Something in me believed that I was really talking to my wife, and the person or thing that wore her form, that slept beside me, was really not her. With a trembling whisper, I asked, "Honey, what is going on? How do you..." "Shh." She cut me off sharply. "I'll explain everything when you get to the hospital. Just leave the house and the compound and head straight here." Then the line went dead. My heart pounded. I got out of the bed as quietly as I could, then grabbed the car keys from the nightstand, wincing at the faint jingle of metal. The figure on the bed stirred slightly and I froze, hardly daring to breathe. Then it stayed motionless, still asleep. I made it to the bedroom door, almost tiptoeing. I opened it gently so it wouldn't creak, then left the room. Stealthily, I went down the stairs and to the front door, which I unlocked, then bolted out of the house. Breathing the cool night air outside gave me a slight relief. I turned and looked up at the bedroom window, and I saw her, the thing that looked like my wife, standing at the window and looking back at me. I swallowed hard. Act normal was the instruction my real wife gave me. "Where are you going, dear?" it asked. Its voice was a perfect imitation of my wife's, but it lacked humanity, and it was almost robot-like. With quick thinking, I replied, "I had a bad dream. I couldn't go back to sleep, so I decided to step out and go on a little night ride." She said nothing, then turned and left the window. I ran to the car, threw myself into the driver's seat, jammed the keys into the ignition and started the car. As I reversed out on the driveway, I saw her. She was now standing at the front entrance of the house, illuminated by the headlights of the car. Her legs and arms began to twist and bend at odd angles as they grew longer. Her shoulder-length dark hair on her head also grew longer till it reached the ground. Her skin turned grey and wrinkled, making it resemble the bark of a tree. But most terrifying of all was her face, which rippled as eyes appeared all over it. It opened its mouth, which split along the middle, spreading out like the arms of a starfish, and she let out a bone-chilling screech. After I was out of the driveway and on the road, I sped off down the empty street. Through the rearview mirror, I saw the creature chase me. It ran on all fours like a spider and gradually caught up with me. I jammed the accelerator, increasing my speed, but this creature still caught up with me. "What the hell?" I screamed, while gripping the steering wheel tight to steady the speeding car. My heart was pounding fast as I wondered what this thing was. I was even more terrified when I realized that I had been alone with it in the house, on the bed. Through the rear mirror, I watched it leap into the air, and it landed a few feet in front of me. It must have expected me to swerve to avoid it, which would have made me lose control of the car and topple over at the speed I drove. But I didn't. Instinct took over and I headed straight for it and collided with it. The collision sent it flying several feet off to the side of the road. But I didn't stop. I continued my journey to the hospital. I checked the rear mirror several times to see if the creature got up and continued to follow me, but I didn't see it. I must have injured it badly. Finally, I arrived at the hospital and my wife was standing at the entrance. Seeing her gave me a relief that washed over me like a wave. I stopped and got out of the car and ran to her, and she ran back to me and hugged me. "Baby, are you okay?" she said while checking to see I was fine. Then she kissed me. "I know you have a lot of questions, and I'll answer all of them," she said as she led me to the car. I do hope you liked this story. Please leave a comment, like, and subscribe. Thank you.